The integrity of the process leading up to the nomination of Kholeka Gcaleka as the country's new public protector is intact. That's according to the chairperson of the ad hoc committee, which was established to select and recommend a new public protector. Gcaleka, who is currently acting in the position of public protector, received the most votes. 7 MPs voted for her, while 4 voted against her.
Advocate Kholeka Gcaleka is described as having a good temperament, an excellent candidate who stood her ground and displayed a vision for the office which she currently leads in an acting capacity. These are the views expressed by ANC MPs on the committee.
Advocate Gcaleka demonstrated that she has both the character and the capability for that office. Throughout the interview, she demonstrated that with beyond any doubt from where I'm sitting. I was amazed, and I must make this point. I was amazed that in 3.5 years being a deputy, about the level of readiness, that here you have a younger woman, and I even said she's the youngest.
The IFP agrees with this assessment, adding its 1 vote to the ANC's 6 in the committee. Other opposition parties don't agree.
I found Advocate Kholeka to be wholly unsuitable for the post. She has a burden of baggage that I don't think can be properly dealt with.
She's got a cloud hanging over her head, Chair. And to give her the office of the PP with the cloud hanging over her head, it's suicidal. But also, it's something that we, all of us, have got a duty to say, not in our names, not in our country. We have a young democracy. We have a duty to protect this democracy. And a person who comes across as following where the wind goes is not suitable. So, as a result, Chair, we do not support Advocate Gcaleka. Thank you.
There's unfortunately a cloud and a question mark with regards to her impartiality, regarding decision making, and I think that would be, to appoint her would be to the detriment of the office of the public protector and to our constitutional order.
But the numbers are in favour of Gcaleka, whose name will now be recommended to the National Assembly and the President for appointment. Gcaleka's name has been bandied about as the front-runner for the ANC. But Committee Chair Cyril Kaba defended the integrity of the process which he led.
I must say, I always repeat this, that this process is derived from the public participation process. We did not come into this meeting with names. Names came through that process.
The committee needs to report to the National Assembly by the 31st of August. Advocate Kholeka Gcaleka needs at least 240 votes before her name gets sent to President Cyril Ramaphosa for approval. The ANC has 230 MPs and the IFP has 14 MPs, which means if all goes according to plan, she will take office for a non-renewable term of 7 years. The current suspended public protector, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane's term comes to an end on the 14th of October. Abra Barbia, SABC News, Parliament.
The recommendation of Parliament's ad hoc committee for Advocate Kholeka Gcaleka as the new public protector has drawn mixed reactions. Civil society group Public Interest SA welcomes the decision. Let's find out why with PISA chair Tebogo Khaas. Tebogo, good evening and welcome to you. Why do you believe this was a good choice?
Good evening and thanks, Iman, for having me. Look, we live in a very polarized society, in a politically fractured environment, prevailed even during the interviews. And be that as it may, here's the thing. We groom people as deputies to the office of the public protector. And yet, when the time comes for them to ascend, especially if they've acquitted themselves satisfactorily during the period of deputizing, we believe they are no longer suitable for the task. And that, for me, is a very unfortunate thing, because if you look at the track record of the acting public protector, especially during her tenure as in the acting stint, she has acquitted herself admirably. Yes, there's this pala issue that everybody is litigating in the public square, but to the extent that she had made that determination, it behoves those who do not agree with the determination to take it on review. And, we live in a society where we are fortunate enough that we can actually take rulings or determinations that we don't agree with on review through the courts. And I think to the extent that she managed to provide the kind of stewardship in the office of the public protector with such admiration and courage, for us, I believe that she ought to be the natural person to take over from suspended public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane. In fact, if you look at the interview process itself, I think she's done admirably, and I don't see why anybody would argue with it. And yes, the DA, EFF will
We'll actually come to that, Tebogo, because I want to touch that independently. How will Advocate Khaleka, as the face and the force of the office, regain or repair some of the damage that's been done to its name? Or put simply, is she likely to have a term that allows her to focus on the mandate of the Public Protector's Office rather than a term that keeps focusing or pivoting on the question of her capability?
Yeah, look, the Office of the Public Protector has been, the reputation has been damaged. That's an understatement. And I think we would be putting undue pressure on the incoming incumbent to undo in a short period of time what has been done in the past 7 years or so, from under the spell of Busisiwe Mkhwebane. And we need to be able to give the support that is necessary for her to do what is expected out of the mandate that is constitutionally vested with this office. And only then shall we be able to judge her performance, whether or not she is doing her work. We had an instance where we had, South Africa could have had Kevin Malunga, for example, who deputized for Busisiwe, for the previous public protector, and we never got the chance to have continuity. Instead, we went and appointed somebody that we believed at the time, or many believed at the time, would be the right person, only for those who actually were heaping their praise to turn around and say, sorry, this was the worst decision that we have ever made. That is the EFF and others. The same here. There are those who are opposing her, including the DA and the EFF, who will later, hopefully, be able to say maybe we made a wrong decision. We should actually have supported her from the get-go.
So to that point, Advocate Khaleka is deemed, to be burdened by baggage, wholly unsuitable, for example, by the DA, fickle according to the EFF, who characterized her as following the wind, or the FF Plus, who said there are clouds and questions over her decision-making. How is this opposition to her, which is probably natural, not all the parties are going to agree, and it's natural in the context in which they work, but overall and outside of this moment, how is it likely to affect the work of her office?
Show me a public protector who was universally accepted, from even Thuli Madonsela, Mkhwebane and all that. There is no such, unanimity in terms of the appointment of public protectors. Maybe Selvi Bako and others, there may have been. I can't go back that far in terms of memory. But we've seen that in the case of Thuli Madonsela, she disproved the naysayers and did the job so well that she became the torchbearer of whoever would come and ascend to that office. Now, we cannot find consensus within Parliament itself. There's politics. If you don't give decisions that seem to go in favor of the opposition, you are likely to be vilified, which is what we see happen here. I do not, by any stretch of imagination, say that an in-law, her decision to absolve the president is good or not. But we are saying here, a decision has been made, a determination has been found, and those who do not agree with it, let them take it up for review. So we cannot expect the political party. We know that, for example, the ATMs, the EFF, they've all been hounding her, and we don't expect them to actually be supportive of a nomination. In fact, I'm surprised by the stance that the DA has taken. But I wouldn't be surprised if the DA makes an about 10 and actually gives the nod for her appointment.
Well, I don't know. We spoke to Advocate Glenys Breitenbach at the start of our program, and they were talking about, you know, restarting the process, so to speak, of looking for a new public protector altogether, basically saying that this cohort of applicants were abysmal. But let's move on to our closing question. Tebogo, South Africa is reaping the convergent bitter fruits of corruption, its effects on families, deadly outcomes for whistleblowers in our country. How would you estimate, or why would you say that office is supremely important at this juncture in our democracy?
You know, that office is supremely important to the ordinary citizens, to the extent that you don't need, there are no hurdles actually accessing the office of the public protector. You don't need to have a lawyer to make a case. You don't need to have somebody representing you to approach the public protector. It is easily accessible. You can phone in, you can write in, and you can do it online. And that, for me, is another advantage or benefit that we have under this democratic dispensation, in that access to justice justice has been made easier for an ordinary person. Even a gogo, as Tulima Tonsolis want to say, a gogo Dlamini would be able to find assistance in that office. We have found assistance. We have found the office of the public protector approachable insofar as us being able to be used as a vessel to register complaints with it. And we found that to the extent that they're able to investigate things that organizations with constrained resources may not be able to take, or any individual without resources can be able to undertake. The Office of the Public Protector is the vanguard that is protecting the rights or vindicating the social justice rights.
Thank you so much for talking to us tonight and sharing your perspective on these developments today. This is Public Interest SA Chair Tebogo Khaas.